Halloween! Kinda, I know it's a little bit early, but look, NXT was shouting about the spookiness and the scariness. We may as well just celebrate it now anyway, especially because in terms of retro ups and downs, Halloween Havoc WCW 1998 finally got voted in, so we will be upping those downs for that tomorrow, and we'll have a jolly good time. But before we have that jolly good time, we have to have a jolly good time here. And if you don't want to have a jolly good time, tough, turn that frown upside down. It's a hard thing to do. And let's up those downs for the latest episode of AEW Dynamite. Small spoiler, I flippin' loved it. Oh, I tell you, I am all about AEW doing tape shows, because when you do that in terms of post-production, you can just make the sound so loud. And I realise, or I remember when I watch professional wrestling, I just want noise in my face, like you're screaming at me a la Braun Strowman. That's all he does, like, I'm really mad all the time. Also, our first match was Hangman Page taking on Wardlow in round 2 of the World Title #1 Contender Tournament, and this was just a barrel of fun. Good times. Commentary put over the big man for being a big man. I mean, I think they called him a big man at least 72,891 times, but it did make me go, my word, he's a big man. And then they backed that up during the match when Hangman Page dove at Wardlow out the ring, and he caught him, and he was going to slam him down, but Hangman Page was able to push him into the ring post, but then Low Ward was like, don't care about that, and he speared the cowboy right through the barricade. Hangman eventually got back on top and he finished that flurry with a standing shooting star press, and Wardlow just kicked out at 1. That never gets old. Straight away you just go, oh, he's so beefy. Not beefy, like strong, he's let's just move on. Adam then went for the buckshot lariat, but Wardlow was able to get out the way and just nailed him with a massive clothesline, and he hit the F10. But because Hangman Adam Page is such a smart wrestler, he rolled out the ring, and now if you want to, like if you're a big Wardlow fan, you can go on the internet going, well, he would have won if Hangman Page hadn't rolled out the ring. So there was some protection there for the big man. It all came together to remind Hangman that he was going to have to pull out the big guns, because, he's a cowboy. And he absolutely did, because even though Wardlow tried to drag him up to the top rope, Hangman Adam Page reversed it into like a fall-away slam. That looked cool. He then hit 2 buckshot lariats. 1, 2, 3. Your first person in the finals of this tourney is Hangman Adam Page. I mean, this was so much fun. It really, really was. And at one point, Wardlow did this like senton off the top rope, but it seemed like he'd forgotten to Google Map. He had no target, so he looked like a missile flying through the sky. It was really, really impressive. Wardlow is definitely going to be the man down the line as well. We just have to find the right moment for him when we light a fire under his ass, because Hangman Adam Page should have won here. And I want to make it very clear, in October 2020, I, Simon Miller, am firmly on the Wardlow wagon. There was then more build to Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston for the world title at Full Gear, and these two, they just crazy up. It started with a Mox promo, where he not only made the world title feel like the most important thing that has ever been born into this world, but he also got over AEW as a company, like we're all athletes and we're striving to be the best, and if you're not, you can kiss my ass. I mean, he didn't say that, but that was the point. He also went on about how personal this has become, and that Eddie now needs to watch his neck. I'm sorry, that's just not something you say if you're just intent on injuring someone. That is a death threat. So down it comes, there it is, the kill him counter. Mark another one on the board, that is 6. Although it's always going to be hard to beat number 5, which was Johnny Bravo in Impact Wrestling, actually being murdered. Kingston then came to the ring not only for a match, but to respond to Jon Moxley, and we got some updates with the bunny. Turns out she was only with QT Marshall to rinse and dry and max out the credit cards. I do believe all of that is a little bit convoluted, but at least AEW have done their best, and also we addressed it last week. Eddie then did his retort, and you already know the deal. He doesn't cut promos, he just speaks and leaves you wondering, well, I don't think Eddie Kingston knows that wrestling is a work, which is why I invented this. That does Eddie Kingston know it's a work device? And we plug some stuff in, blah, blah, blah. We give it the information, we wait, and the answer, as always, is no. Eddie Kingston doesn't know wrestling is a work. I think he totally believes it's real, and that's why he is just so absolutely incredible. He reminded us that he was never thrown out of the Battle Royal, and that he never submitted in Jon Moxley versus him round 1, and then he had a very enjoyable match with Matt Sydal, and how did he get the victory? He choked him out using the Bulldog guillotine thingy that Jon Moxley has been doing for the last few weeks. It's just all so good and it's so easy to invest in, and also nobody saw it coming. Nobody in January 2020 was writing vlogs and blogs going, I can't make the say Eddie Kingston versus don't. You didn't write that, and if you're telling people you did, you are a massive liar. I don't even think Eddie Kingston could have predicted this, but my word, I'm glad it happened. It was then time to try and put some logic into this FTR Young Bucks feud. Even up. We were doing one of those dual interviews. We had like the Young Bucks down here in their own little window and the FTR up there in their own little window. Even though I bet in reality they probably filmed it in the same room because that would just make it easier. And it turns out that Matt Jackson has suffered an ankle injury, but he will be fine for Full Gear. And as ever, FTR just like, we don't care about the internet. We don't care about the internet backlash. They are so obsessed with the flipping internet. The big takeaway was that the Bucks finally explained why they've been massive dicks recently, but I kind of thought that was self-apparent. As a fan, I saw them fall out with their best buddy, Hangman Adam Page, and because they didn't agree with his actions, it just got them right in the tum-tum, and they ran wild like a couple of fools. However, here they also wanted to make it clear that it was FTR, it was Cash and Dax, whatever the hell they're called, who had been manipulating all of their pals, and that's also why they got in their brains, but it's time to sort it out. Excalibur, who was hosting this, then pushed Nick Jackson to expand, and this pissed the tag team champions off because they were like, you know, we are here too. Why aren't you asking us any questions? So they did that thing that a lot of people do, and they just left. And then it transpired that there is a brand new stipulation for this tag team match at the pay-per-view, and that is that if the Young Bucks do not win, they will never challenge for those titles again. Ooh, delally. Now this raised my eyebrow a little bit because somebody else said this and his name was Cody Rhodes. And I'm just spitballing here and do a little bit of fantasy booking. But I totally believe Cody did that because he is going to win the World Championship and go massive heel. We'll be like, oh, that little son of a gun. And now I'm starting to think, are the Young Bucks going to be involved in that? And are they going to do it too? Still, all of this was very interesting and the stakes do feel high. And now Matt and Nick Jackson will just win at Full Gear, and I'll look like an absolute moron. But come on now, that match is going to be fire. That was me doing a liar. Following this was the Inner Circle Town Hall meeting between the Inner Circle and MJF. Up. Now many people thought this was going to be really goofy, and it was to a point, but the second half was really, really serious, and I was definitely sports entertained. Also, I have real problems in my life, so I'm not going to worry about this. It started absolutely brilliantly. Because we were basically having a bunch of questions from the AEW roster, the first of which was from Luchasaurus, who wanted to know what financial advantages MJF would bring to the group. And I love that. Luchasaurus so damn worried about the cash flow of the Inner Circle. Others wanted to know whether Jericho was worried about MJF turning on the group, and Chris kind of fobbed that off, and then Peter Avalon stood up and said, oh, could I just be in the faction, please? And he got laughed away. And I suppose the big twist, the big turn, the big surprise was that Eric Bischoff was back. He was asking the hard questions. Because he has kind of worked with both of them, he wanted to know how the hell they were going to coexist because they're such massive prima donnas. And MJF didn't like this, and he turned to Chris Jericho. It's like, what haven't I done for you, Chris? I have done everything. And then without missing a beat, Le Champion said, well, I tell you what you haven't done. You've never beaten me. That then set up another Full Gear match, because now Jericho is saying, if you can defeat me in a wrestling match, you can be in the Inner Circle, and if you can't, that's it, we're done, you ain't coming near us again. Ortiz then got really mad about this, because he was like, I don't like you, Sammy Guevara doesn't like you, so even if you do worm your way into this thing, we are still gonna spit on your grave. That is way too much, but imagine he did. And you can just see it, they're gonna turn on Chris Jericho and this is all going to be a ruse, but sometimes the simplest stories are the best, and it will still make me go, oh, like that emoji, so I ain't got a problem with it. I do admit this is a kind of bizarre way to set this up. It's like, do you want to be friends? Well, to be friends, we've got to have a massive fight first, but I can't wait to see where it goes, and when you break it down, that's all wrestling should be. We're also going to get a tease next week, because it's going to be Wardlow and MJF taking on Sammy Guevara and Ortiz. And if you're wondering why it's not Santana, where we were told, at the moment, he's kind of somewhere in the middle. That made me laugh. Had a video from Team Taz telling Willie Hobbs to speed up and make a decision about whether he wants to join the group. And within this, we saw footage of Hobbs on Dark. So Taz, you lazy son of a gun, why don't you go ask him there? Of course, I am joking. And then we were right into the TNT title match. It was a lumberjack match, but it was kind of cool because we actually used that stipulation here to add layers to all of this. Like, the baby faces had divided allegiances depending on who they liked and who they didn't like, whereas the heels just wanted to be dicks. But, for example, at one point Cody got into it with the best friends, so Trent punched him right in the face. That is not a nice thing to do. It allowed Cassidy to be on top for a little while, but then Cody was coming back and then Orange was coming back too. It was a really good fight, but nothing will ever beat when they were on the top rope and Cody gave Orange Cassidy a superplex into all the lumberjacks. This will be gift for days and actually made me say out loud to no one is here, wrestling is just the craziest thing on the planet. I mean, what even was this? We had some really close near falls after that, especially when Cassidy hit the beach break. I mean, Cody must have kicked out like 2.999999999, and that's where things got a little bit interesting. Because there was a massive fracas on the outside, given that the Lumberjacks had a man thrown into them. And throughout all of this, Long John Silver, he of the Dark Order, attacked Orange Cassidy before Cody saw this and chucked him out the ring. However, he was all confused like, well, I didn't see him attack Orange, but he still went and hit the crossroads onto his opponent and got the 1, 2, 3. And even though he pretended to be all baffled afterwards, I was like, something smells off here, Cody, and I think it could be you. Or at least your allegiances. And I know the Dark Order hate both Orange Cassidy and Cody, and they promised that they were going to whip Orange's ass before all this, but something is not right here. If I had my detective gear, I'd put it on, but I will do it soon. You can just see something big is about to happen. This really is a lot of fun though, trying to guess where we're gonna go and where we're not gonna go, and then it turned out that Darby Allin had been watching all of this from the stands like he was Sting circa WCW. And I tell you, if Cody somehow accidentally on purpose beats him at Full Gear, put on some fun gloves because we're gonna have a good time. Nope, take them off, fun gloves sound terrible. Kip Sabian and Miro then tricked the best friends. Like, they were like, don't worry about a game and here's some presents, and then as soon as Penelope Ford said trick or treat, Miro and Kip Sabian just beat up the best friends. I don't really get what's going on here, like it was quite intense, and there was still that cameo from Billy Mitchell a few weeks ago, which now appears just to be a one and done. I don't know, man, I'm gonna have a tag team match, I would assume, at the pay-per-view, but it is all very weird. But you can't get mad at the catalyst for all of this. If I came round your house and I broke your home arcade cabinet, you would be flippin' livid. You would hate this bald asshole. New NWA Women's Champion Serena Deeb then beat Layla Hirsch. It was really entertaining. And I know that Hirsch does have some experience. This was kind of like the veteran in Serena holding her hand and making sure it was better than many people expected, and that's exactly what we got. Hirsch went after Deeb's arm early on, which told a nice little story, but of course we're all tempted by the top rope, and she really screwed up when she went for a moonsault and missed, and that allowed Serena Deeb to hit that weird single crab, but she kind of locks the arm too. And poor Layla, she tapped out. As anybody would have done, she's been folded up like a crab. I don't think crabs fold. It also ties into all these rumors about why Thunder Rosa lost the NWA title. Is she going to go to AEW full time? Is she going to go to WWE? Well, I want to make 2 points. One, it's really, really weird when people get mad about where wrestlers decide to ply their trade, let them make their own decisions. And two, Billy Corgan, he who owns NWA, has said that she signed to the company through the next year. Just a lot of hot air for absolutely nothing. Following this, we also got an interview with Shayna where Alex Marvez told her, like, you know the number one contender is Nyla Rose. Well, she has now refused to have any wrestling matches until she can face you. She got the microphone, she looked into the camera and went, aight, let's do it at Full Gear. She was better than that, but you take my point. Now, my only issue with this is that it just felt so out of nowhere and it just felt a little bit lame. I want to see that match. They smashed it first time and I'm sure they'll smash it again. Couldn't we have just done an extra little bit of story? And look, we criticised WWE when they did it with Oscar and Zelina Vega, so we have to be fair. For that reason, just getting it down. Shawn Spears then won a squash match. I mean, I can't even tell you anything. He just got in the ring and hit the C4, and that was that. He then got pissed off because he saw someone dressed as a bull in the crowd. I suppose he must have a phobia about bulls, so he went and got him, and he chucked him in the ring. He then went to get his glove from Tully Blanchard, but during all of that, the bull revealed himself to be Scorpio Sky, and he managed to hit that cool TKO cutter thing he does. And I really like this feud. I think it could take up more time on Dynamite, but we shall have to wait and see. Also, do not forget, Scorpio Sky was dressed as a bull, and Shawn Spears is a bully. I'm here all week. All of this did mean that our main event was the other number one contender world title second round tournament match thingamajig up, down, left, right between Kenny Omega and of course Penta, who was replacing Phoenix after last week Phoenix got dropped on his head. Did that change anything? No. Was this still one of the greatest things you're ever probably going to see in your life? Yes. It's getting it up. Omega is full on dick mode right now. Like, he's walking around with this stupid grin on his face, and during the start of this, he even revealed the AAA championship, which he won from Phoenix, which of course pissed off Pentagon. And then these two just decided to chop each other for around about 3 minutes. And if you've never been chopped, it is no fun, and they were doing it like, I don't know, someone trying to cut down a tree. Penta eventually got bored of this and he started to hit a tope and a backstabber, but unfortunately he landed kind of suspiciously on his knee, and Kenny Omega, my word, he just turned into a shark. He was like, I'm gonna ruin that leg. Penta's comeback to this was to try work over Kenny Omega's knee, and all of this kind of craziness saw them fight into the crowd, but ultimately, this was just wild. It's one of those matches where I could go through it move by move by move by move by move, but I would not be doing it justice. If you like what the modern world of professional wrestling has become, you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to every single person in your life to watch this. It was just absolutely nuts. It also had some terrific near falls, especially after Penta hit his package power driver on Omega. Honestly, Kenny kicked out so close to the 3, I actually think I died for a second because my brain couldn't comprehend why I'd just seen a victory but also had it at the same time. It just went, you know what, and it shut me off, but thankfully I powered back on. It all built to the one wing angel, which nobody kicks out of, meaning our finals are going to be Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page, and there are some people out there who have actually gone, well, that's a little bit too obvious. I'm like, are you kidding me? So you wanted Wardlow versus Penta at the end of that. And I love those two guys, and their time will come. But no, you didn't. Stop moaning for the sake of moaning. When you go see comedies or rom-coms or traditional Hollywood movies, they all tell the same story, but the reason they're so damn satisfying is because it makes sense. Of course I want to see Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page. Think of all the personal investment we have in this. AEW's been building it for a long ass time. You don't just change track because, I don't know, Steve499 on Twitter went, this isn't for me. That's okay, Steve, but for goodness sake, would you stop being such a negative Nancy? That is going to be so good though, and even though the whole card looks pretty good, Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega is the one that I need the most, because I think Kenny Omega is going to win, and he's going to dethrone Jon Moxley, and where the hell does that leave the Cowboy? He's probably going to get lost in a lot of booze, and I don't want that. He's a good man. Which brought us to the end of another AEW Dynamite, and I ain't even going to pretend this show was absolutely excellent. It has got me so hyped for the pay-per-view, which is the point of television, and that's why it's getting it up. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's show. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE, and watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. I don't know what that was. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for joining me. And if you are obsessed with ups and downs, again, tomorrow, Retro Ups and Downs, Halloween Havoc 1998. And then we're back at the weekend. We got Up Those Down for SmackDown. Roman Reigns probably going to kill someone. See ya.